Welcome to Food Lovers TV. Today we're going to do perfect steamed rice. Sounds very basic, sounds very easy, but believe me, there's a lot of people who don't quite get it. So what I'm doing is I'm cooking jasmine rice today, and I'm going to put half a cup in per person. And that is really on average what I would do, particularly when you're wanting to have perhaps something like a satay where you've got lots of rice, you've got your meat kebabs on the side, some sauce and salad. I think you really do need to work on about half a cup per person. So let's go for the 4-person family. So we've got 2 cups of rice in here. Now the rice I've bought today is a decent quality rice. The reason I know that is because if you look very closely at the grains, you can see that they're all intact. If you buy cheaper or inferior rice, you'll get lots and lots of broken grains, and then when you go to cook it, it's going to be really difficult because you'll get, when the grains break, the starch is released, so when you cook it, you're going to end up with gluggy rice, whether you like it or not. Whereas when you've got predominantly full grains, that's when you're going to get the starch enclosed within the grain, and your rice is going to be much easier to deal with. Okay, the first thing you need to do is to run your rice under cold water until the water runs clear. Now this can take a few minutes, perhaps not a few minutes, perhaps it's more like seconds, but you do need to do it thoroughly because you need to get as much of that excess starch out as possible. So we'll just take this to the sink, where I'm just going to put a cold tap gently on it, and really all I do is just keep stirring it with my hands, and as you can see in there, the water is very, very cloudy. And the trick with this is to wash your rice without sending too much down the drain. So we'll just pour that off, and then we'll just keep washing. With steaming rice, you'll never ever ever end up with gluggy rice again. The only thing that can trip you up is sometimes when you have to make rice for a lot of people, that gets a little bit harder. But if you're doing for 6, for 8, it's very, very easy to get consistently good rice all the time just by following this method. Okay, I think we're getting there now. Our water's looking nice and clear. Let's just pour that last bit off, and see that is pretty much clear. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put water into the rice until it reaches the first joint on your middle finger. Now people often say to me, but how can that be? We've all got different length fingers and it can't be consistent. It does work, I promise you it does work. So put enough water till it comes over the surface of the rice. So if you gently put your finger on the rice, it comes up to that first joint on your finger, and that will be exactly the right amount for absorption. Okay, so that's looking good. Now, a tight fitting lid. What you also might like to do is you can cut some paper, some baking paper, and press that down onto the top of where the water is. Well, don't press it down, sit it on top of the water. Generally, I don't go to that much fuss, but I do put a tight fitting lid on. Then I'm going to take this over to the stove. Here I've got a simmer mat. Now I find it's not the world's most attractive simmer mat, but I find these are really good for getting even heat dispersion and for making sure you don't get that concentrated heat right in the middle, but it spreads all around and you have perfect heat control. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that on to high, and from now on I'm not going to take the lid off at all. So this is on high, but it's still a gentle heat because it's on a smaller element. Once that boils, I'll know it's boiling because I will be able to hear it, the lid will start to move a bit, and also when you feel the side of the pan, you'll feel the vibrations. Once we get to boiling, I'm going to turn it down to as low as this element will go and ignore it completely for 15 minutes. Don't be tempted to take the lid off and have a peek. It won't work. Leave the lid on for 15 minutes, and when that 15 minutes is up, you then turn the element off completely, ignore it for about another 5, and then open it, and it should be ready to fluff and to serve. So let's just leave that to sit now till it comes to the boil. Now when you're cooking with gas or induction, you've got really good heat control, so you can control whether it's on high or whether it's on really low. If you've got an electric element, you'll take longer to heat up and also longer to cool down. So once your rice just starts to boil on the electric element, make sure you get it turned down quickly, and if it starts to boil too much and you're getting overflow, quickly lift your pan up off the heat and just let that element cool down slightly before you put the pan back on. Because basically what you want to do, you don't ever want to lift the lid off, it's all the steam that's going to cook the rice. So you do want to keep that lid firmly on, but you don't want it to be boiling constantly so you're getting any overflow. So if in doubt, lift it off the heat and then put it back on for electric, but with gas or induction you'll be fine because you have got such precise heat control. Righto, this rice has had 15 minutes. It's been brought to the boil, then it's had 15 minutes on a simmer as low as possible with the lid on. I've then turned off the heat after 15 minutes, left it to sit for a couple of more minutes. And here we have, as you can see, lovely cooked, yet still flaky steamed rice. All you need to do is fluff it with a fork and then serve it. And there you have it, perfect steamed rice. For more videos and recipes, go to foodlovers.co.nz.